you like Vancouver?
I love it.
It's a tough city to live in.
What's it like to live here?
People are healthy and happy.
What is the craziest thing you've seen?
All my years. Okay, here's the craziest thing, all right?
If you could change one thing about Vancouver, what would it be?
Oh, I would change the...
I might be completely wrong about this, but I think living in Vancouver was a little bit cooler a few years ago. I've lived here for about 7 years now, and I have romanticized about this city. I really like living here. But in recent times, it's been getting a lot of heat for reasons we all know. Affordability and public safety being the main two. But this city still has so much life to offer, which is why all the residents still choose to stay back. And that is what we're unpacking today. We're asking the people of Vancouver why they still choose to live here, even though certain aspects may not be favorable. What is your name and what do you do?
My name is Erica. I'm a dentist.
How long have you been living in Vancouver?
Almost 6 years.
Given everything you know and all the pros and cons, why do you still choose to live here?
It's kind of like an adult playground. If you want to go to the mountains, you want to snowboard, if you want to camp, whatever it may be, you'll find it. If you want food, a little bit of culture, you can find this here as well.
If you could change one thing about Vancouver, what would it be?
Oh, I would change it's a bit cold here, but not like temperature-wise. I think people aren't as friendly as they could be. Something that we should all try to work on is to be a little bit more warm and inviting to one another.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
But it is true. I do see it, but I just don't know why. Do you think the weather has a part to play?
No, because I'm from Calgary. I grew up there. It's colder. We do have a lot more sun there, but I think it's just the Vancouver vibe. That's just what we do.
It's Evan and I work in finance.
How long have you lived in Vancouver?
I grew up here. I moved away for about 8-9 years, but I just moved back actually a few months ago.
What makes you still live here?
Honestly, family, but it's a tough city to live in, not gonna lie.
What would you rate your experience?
I would give it a good 7.5, 8 out of 10. I mean, it really comes down to what you're looking for. Cost of living affordability is obviously an issue here, but the quality is really, really good if you have the means.
What would need to change for you that to go up to like 9 or 10 out of 10?
They need to do a meaningful course of action on the homeless issue and drugs issues here. I live in Yaletown now, where even then homeless are kind of encroaching on the city, and there's got to be a realistic solution on how we can solve that problem.
What's the craziest thing you've seen in this city in your entire life?
From shootings, stabbings, overdoses, you name it, man. Like, it's getting pretty wild here. Downtown has really kind of turned, but on the other side, like you go out to East Van, out of the suburbs, it's being gentrified, and you're seeing a lot of people move out and develop in these areas. So there are areas of the city that are really good to live.
How much do you pay for rent and what do you get for it?
I pay $3,000 a month and it's 800 square feet. It's, well, they say 2-bedroom, but it's a bedroom plus den.
Eze. I do software QA.
How long have you lived in Vancouver?
The last 15 years.
What still keeps you living in the city?
To be honest with you, the water is amazing. I like being able to go to the outdoors not too long ago from here. But other than that, to be honest with you, not much keeps me here. The heart is pretty cold in Vancouver. Yeah. No one really says hello to another person. Homeless people are kind of just looked at the other way. It's like, oh shit, I don't see anybody.
What are some of the pros and cons of living here?
Pros, I would say nature. It's not too far away, that's what I'd say, right? The cons, people can get used to the nice beauty of Vancouver, but forget that the market is shit here, It's very expensive.
What is the craziest thing you've seen in Vancouver?
All my years, okay. Here's the craziest thing, all right? For over 15 years, a bunch of homeless people are surrounding this area, right?
Yeah.
Literally most of East Vancouver, right? Yeah. And then 15 years later, they want to get rid of them all. So they get over 200 cops that have been doing nothing probably. Now they got a job to do, kick out homeless people. And you know what happened after that? They ain't got nowhere else to go, so they just go to the surrounding cities.
I need to share my 2 cents on something that I think is extremely important here. One thing I noticed through my interviews is that people are usually here with a strong foundation, either family or work or school. What made you decide to move here?
Born and raised here.
My family's here for work.
My family is rooted here.
I'm a student.
Family.
My career is going to be here.
While I was traveling Europe, I noticed that people move to new cities to explore life, find themselves, and open up their minds. Now, I'm not saying you can't do that here. Of course you can, but you need to make sure you have a strong foundation here in terms of a job or a degree or some sort of financial backing to help support you in this city because of some of the constraints we have here. All right, let's go back to the interviews.
I'm Fatima and I'm a student.
Do you like Vancouver?
I love it. I lived in Calgary salary, 5 months, and I didn't like the weather. So that's why I decided to move here.
Given all the pros and cons, why do you still choose to live here?
I love this city, especially in the spring. Oh my god, it gets so beautiful. And also, I'm a student.
If you could change one thing about Vancouver, what would it be?
You living cost. Yeah. I don't want to say it's expensive. It's not affordable at all.
Which area do you live in?
I live on Fraser King Edward, so I have a good deal.
How much do you pay for rent and what do you get?
I have just my own suite and one room, kitchen, bathroom. I pay $750.
Wow.
My name is Xandru, and I am a retail manager at Harry Rosen.
How long have you been living in Vancouver?
Born and raised.
What still keeps you living in this city?
The laid-back kind of vibe of the lifestyle here. I actually moved away for 7 years and then came back during the pandemic.
Where did you move to and what made you move back?
At the time, in my earlier 20s, I moved away to Toronto. I had the mentality of like, I hate the city. It's too slow-paced. People here are passive-aggressive. I lived in Toronto. Toronto has that vibe of it's very fast-paced. People are very blunt and to the point. Moving back here, it reframed the way that I looked at the city. And you realize that it doesn't really matter where you live. It's what you do with it.
Nav, I'm a physiotherapist.
What are some of the pros and cons of living in here?
You get to experience such a beautiful weather all throughout the year. The weather is not that harsh. In terms of cons, like I would say the opportunities are relatively lesser. You don't have many opportunities in terms of businesses because there's not enough population, so market size is smaller. For that matter, the opportunities are lesser.
In your profession, how is Vancouver for you, like physiotherapy?
I'm in a profession which is like a semi-funded by the government, but if you compare it to any other Western countries where it's fully privatized, they're making more than what a physiotherapist makes here in Vancouver.
My name's Brittany. I'm a fashion student here in Vancouver.
How long have you been living here?
It's gonna be 3.5 years.
And you moved from where?
I'm from Edmonton originally, but I used to live in Toronto.
What's it like to live here?
What's it like to live here? There's a lot of opportunities here. If you are in a creative field like fashion, there's a lot more opportunities here in Vancouver than other places in Canada.
If there is one thing you could change about Vancouver, what would it be?
Maybe that people are a little bit more open. I think that in Vancouver, because it's such a transient place, people are coming and going all the time. Sometimes people can be a little bit more closed off.
You think people over here don't warm up as easily as other places?
Yeah, I would say so. I'm from Alberta originally, and in Alberta, it's super easy to make friends. And I've made friends here, but it takes time.
I'll admit, this city is not for everyone. You need to have certain interests and be tolerant of certain things to live happily here. The weather's unpredictable. The sun came and left 3 times as I'm filming here right now. This city is an acquired taste, and people either love it or don't like it at all here. So let's talk to our guests and see what kind of a person you need to be to live a happy life here. Who is the ideal person to live in this city?
A rich guy.
Somebody that has fat stacks, lots of money, and somebody who is okay with the rain. Like I'm from here, so the rain doesn't really bother me, but I know folks that come from like other places where it's sunny and especially in the winter, it's like really depressing.
Somebody who comes with great business ideas, but at the same point of time should have enough investment capital in his pockets to start up with his own business. It's not a place for somebody who could come here to work for somebody. It's not a place for a job seeker.
Someone who doesn't like going out late because Vancouver has kind of a bad nightlife. And someone who just enjoys like skiing, hiking, like all of the outdoor stuff.
If you work in a pretty good company that pays you pretty well, like I do, then okay, come here and live here, you know? If you're gonna come here and work a minimum wage job, you're gonna have to work 2 jobs.
Somebody who loves the outdoors for sure and loves rain. I think that's the biggest thing. You have to love rain.
How much money should someone make to comfortably live here?
For annual salary, at least 100K. Yeah.
To live comfortably.
If they have income of more than 10,000
Per month?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who is thinking about moving here, but they're not sure about their decision?
Do it. Yeah, do it. If you're unhappy where you live and you want to have better chance in life and you want to be outside, like this is a great place. I feel like more happy and like more patient in life since I moved here. So
Definitely have a purpose if you're coming here, like school or work. It can be a bit of a cliquey city, so if you're involved in something, it's going to be a lot easier for you to integrate to the city and get a social circle going. Come with a game plan to either buy or just be a permanent renter. and get yourself a long-term lease somewhere before rates really skyrocket. That's my advice.
Don't just sit at home. Do your very best to go out and just
Community.
find community, be friendly. If people aren't as friendly to you, just be the friendly person. It'll eventually work out.
My name is Iram, and if you're watching to the end, I want to thank you for being part of the Kaizabi show, where we explore how to live your best life away from home. If you vibe with the mission on my channel, then consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next video.